be talking about coaching today. I have three fabulous coaches sitting before me. I have Charleen Newhouse. She manages the Irvine office in California. Copus. He handles our Glendale office in Arizona. And we have Stacey Onnen, and she has been managing. She's kind of been promoted.
We don't know what I do.
We like to call her the president of whatever. But they're going to be talking this afternoon. But first, before we start, I want to do one thing. When Michael was talking this morning, Michael Burnoff, when he was talking this morning, building confidence, building relationships is what this is all about. If everyone would please stand, if you'll please stand. Come on. Are you coachable? Okay, here's what you're going to do. Everybody's standing up. I want you to hug somebody. I'm serious. Hug somebody. Let me tell you about hugs. They reduce stress. There's no calories. They're fat-free. No pesticides. Shows that you really care. No batteries, no insurance premiums. They're free, and they're also returnable. Isn't that awesome? I'm a hugger. I hug everybody. Even when I interview people that I've not, just met for the first time, I say, when they're getting ready to go, I say, I am a hugger. I don't think I've had one person not hug me back. I'm never stressed. Of course, with 400 and some agents, you got to do something to keep yourself stress-free. So, let's jump right into this. I understand that systems are necessary for qualified and dedicated agents coming into this field, and yet we have a lot that don't make it. I wonder why that is. I'd like to pick on Ron to start. Let's say that I'm a brand new agent, and I come into your office and I look at you and I say, Ron, how are you going to help me jumpstart my career?
Well, that's easy. Here's the desk, here's your phone.
Do you think that happens in the real world? Yeah, it does. And why is the truth? The fallout rate is what, 85% of people that are in this business a year and a half from now are out of it? Okay?
No, actually, probably what all of you do is sit down and interview them and see what kind of field they're coming out of, what their talents are, what kind of connections they have, explain our training to them, and then help them design a plan that gets them quick as possible clients to work with. Now, in my market, usually that ends up being their sphere, and more importantly, a lot of open houses, and that's how we jumpstart them.
Stacey, would you like to add to that?
I like Ron's first comment because truthfully it really does. I mean, if you look around the room, I'm sure with most of us, that is literally how we started. It was, here's your license, here's your desk, have a great day, hope you make it, pat you on the head, give you a cookie. And now what I look at is, I want to give to them everything that was never given to me. I want to start the new agents with a rock solid business plan. I want to start them with that whole first comment and listen to them. What do you want? Because not every agent that walks in the room wants to sell 50 houses this year. They may only want to sell 10. And so it's really, for me, it's taking that time to listen to them. What do you need? What do you want out of real estate? And then we can build a plan around that.
Do you have, it's interesting that you should say, I want to make $100,000 this year. Agents, when they come in, they expect in 30 days they're going to sell a property. And if they don't, whose fault is it? It's our fault. You didn't show me how to do this or train me. Charleen, would you like to piggyback off of that?
Well, I agree with that. And the reason why I got into coaching was the same reason. I was never taught what to do, how to get started, how to build a business. And, you know, every market's different. And with our market, because we have a lot of the international investors, we have to teach the agents more prospecting activities. So that's really big in our market because our inventory is quite low, and agents' expectations are to sell a house within the first 2 weeks of the business. So we have to line them up with goal settings. So the first thing we do is make them accountable to their activities. We have a 30-day marketing plan like you do for your sellers, and it's just holding them accountable to all of their activities that they have to do daily.
Yeah, and that's the key, holding them accountable. Are agents accountable to us? Stop and think about all the people that we hire on a daily basis, or how many you're hiring weekly. And, you know, they're independent contractors. We don't call them up in the morning and say, geez, are you up? Hey, are you prospecting this morning? Are you doing this? Are you doing that? Do we? And we wonder why our agents don't make it, or so many of them don't succeed in this business. You had mentioned you have written goals. You write your goals down for?
We do, and in RevUp we have the YMW, and it's, those of you that don't know what that is, it's your yearly goal, your monthly and your weekly. So behind the weekly goals, we set up one-on-one sessions with our agents, and I hold them accountable to their goals for that week. And it could be various things, you know, with previewing, but most of it is around prospecting. So if their activity is an open house, their goal is to have so many leads, and they can't leave that open house until they have those leads. And it's the same thing with any prospecting activity that I coach them on. So they always come back with leads, and it's been working for us.
Thank you. Ron, would you like to add on to that?
Well, yeah, I do things a little bit differently in the fact that I make them hold themselves accountable. I have approximately 555 agents, and so my time is limited. Keeps me busy. So when I set this up to begin with, and we set up their goals, or they actually set them up, and we came up with a business plan for them, then their job is to execute it. I'm not going to call them Monday and see what they're going to do that week, and Friday did they do it, and then call them on the carpet. However, our office is very, very open to them. All the agents, all the counter people, we are very friendly, and we want their success, and that comes through. So what I tell them is, if you are not getting accomplished what you need to accomplish, come back to me, sit down, and we'll go over and see what we need to do to change that. But I want them responsible, because I have, over the years, and I've done this a few years, I'm able to motivate people short term. Okay? But if I give them the plan and they do it, they will succeed. I can't motivate them long term, so I want them to take responsibility for that.
Stacey.
I really do agree with one of the things Ron had said about he can motivate him short term, but he really can't motivate him long term. And one of the things I was thinking about over the weekend, in the middle of the night, because we were doing this, was about the whole concept of coaching and about experienced agents hiring a coach. And brand new agents go to their manager to be their coach. And I even started thinking of the whole team concept. And I realized that as agents, we all need accountability so badly that I really do believe that's even where a lot of the people have joined the teams, because that's their accountability. That's their coach there. And I look at that and say, okay, so within the mentee group that we did in the office, I really tried to encourage them to create their own accountability group and figure out different ways to do it. One of the best ways I had done probably about 4 years ago was I got a group that was really willing to hold each other accountable. And we went so far to create a Google Drive spreadsheet where they each had their own sheet on it, and they had to log in that week what they had or hadn't done. Well, 1 or 2 weeks of you not logging your stuff in, and if you've got a really good group, it's gonna suck for you. So they really learn to hold each other accountable, and that takes a lot of the weight off of us, because we can't hold everyone accountable.
Great. Let's talk about, do you coach everybody the same way? That's a tough one. Charleen.
We don't, because not everyone's coachable. The way they adapt and the way they learn are all different. So we have different styles of training. We have the one-on-one sessions that really help us as managers and coaches to help understand where their weakness falls. But the accountability groups are really big in our office. We have an accountability session every Wednesday at 4 o'clock, and the agents talk about their weekly goals. So they're quite embarrassed if they don't reach their goals. So we learn that in a group setting that's more effective with certain agents, and some agents prefer more one-on-one sessions. So everyone's a little bit different.
Okay. Ron?
Well, yeah, not everyone's the same. Different personalities, different goals, and different types of prospecting for them to work. Not everybody is a door knocker. Not everybody's an open house. Not everybody's an internet entrepreneur. So each agent has to be coached to their strengths and their personality. So I take the time to do that, and then once again we come back. After they've tried it for a while and they're not having success, I will usually know, and I'll catch them when they come in. But it's very informal the way I do it. It's hey, I haven't seen you around. What's going on? And we sit down and talk, and then we open up, and then we guide them, get them back on track.
Stacey, do you have anything you'd like to add to that?
Just they pretty much covered it. I do agree. Not everybody, you can't coach them the same as you can't discipline your children the same. Everybody's got a different personality. There's some of them that I may not see for 3 weeks, but it doesn't mean they're not 100% productive. I can send them away with their homework and they're going to get it all done on their own. There's others that the only way they're going to get it done is if, again, you've given them directing, you need to come back and you need to show me that you've done this. And for some, that works.
Thank you. What do you do if you have agents in coaching and you realize it's not working for them and they're not showing up? You're getting calls at 10 o'clock at night. Can you help me with this? Well, geez, I just had a coaching class. Why weren't you there? How do you handle that?
It's kind of the same as when you have a seller. I mean, there comes a point in time where I hate to say it, it's not really correct. You got to fire your seller. So there can come a point where it can be that bad. But all in all, maybe sometimes it's even, I've had certain agents that I just can't coach. And that can be because it's my style, and they just don't get my style. So then there's ways for me to shift them over to other people to coach them. And then that usually does come the time to have that conversation that, for the ones that did, like KC said, they call you at night, but they don't show up. It's having that conversation we should have had in the beginning and rehabbing it, which is, this is a JOB, and it's a JOB all day long. And this is what I need you to do if you're going to be successful, and bringing it back to the whole business plan.
You know, it's like I said earlier, 85% of the people that get their license today will not be here in a year and a half. So we've got maybe 15%, someone told me it's down probably to 10% that will be in this business. Isn't that sad, the turnover? I attribute a lot of turnover to, there's agents that come into this business that had they been coached properly and trained and guided and give the homework to do, to understand what they're doing, could have been very successful. And it's interesting when agents come in, I'll have agents come in that are brand new and say, Casey, oh, I don't want to commit on any splits. I'm going to commit on 100%. I think I sold a house one time, or I bought a house one time. Do you ever get those? Does anybody get those? They all know it, right? Okay. Ron, did you want to add to that? What would you like to add, Ron?
Well, I'd say no, not 100%, but I would explain to them why. And there's a lot to learn here. There's a lot more risk for someone new in the business too, for the brokerage. And usually that request goes away, and they will drop it, but you know, they have to try. The fact is that they may have some experience and even coming from another brokerage where they put together a sale or two, but didn't really have the training. They may not know how to do it. They may not know how to prospect properly. They may not know how to write a contract properly. So they're going to need to be in the classes and in the training with us.
And that kind of writes on to, what are some of the common mistakes that new agents, as well as experienced, make in this business that you see on a daily basis?
I think the biggest mistake we make, because I certainly know I did it, is we're never taught in a lot of ways. We don't treat it like a business. We forget that genuinely you're a business owner and you have to run it like a business. You have to treat your expenses that way. You have to know your numbers. I can't tell you how many agents, both experienced and not, you ask them, what did you sell last year? They don't know their numbers. And if you were to go out and try to run an accounting firm or run a grocery store or anything, you have to know your numbers. And I don't think agents come into this. In fact, there was an Inman survey. Did anybody else get that survey this week about why agents fail? It was a really great survey, but it did absolutely point out that we don't run it like a business. And in the beginning, we have got to take the time, not just to train the agents to prospect, but to train them how to work as independent contractors and manage them well.
That it's their business. Tell me how you got into coaching and how you started, Stacey. Why you ended up in the management side and the coaching side.
I started a real estate company because I was sick of being in an office with a bunch of agents, so I started by myself. And then in about 3 months, had like 16 agents. And then I had that company, and I really thought I was done. And so I sold it to another brokerage, and a couple of years later, I started a real estate school because I realized I genuinely loved that end of it. And so I think I really just worked my way into it by brokering. It was a small town, and so you really did take your time to grow each agent. And then from there, even after I got out of the DB position, I just found myself switching over to a school, and then now back in managing brokering.
Ron.
Well, early in my career, I had an opportunity to step into management, and I was all excited about it. I thought it'd be a very, very good way to enjoy the business. And then I realized I have to get up and talk in front of people, and I about quit, but I didn't. So I stuck with it. Then the coaching obviously took off from there, and I had some great teachers when I was starting out. So I was able to pick up and develop our own training course and go from there.
Well, like I was saying earlier, the reason why I got into it was because of what wasn't taught to me. And I'm realizing with the other brokers, our competition out there, there is lack of training out there. So they're coming to us seeking some type of training, some type of mentorship. And that's what we started putting into our office. And that's been working well because what I'm seeing at our competition, they haven't updated their training in about 10 to 15 years. And a lot of the coaches out there have never sold real estate. So you kind of look within to see what's the need in your area and how you can benefit from that. So we've done a lot of soul searching with our area in Irvine, and with our competition, we know what's out there. And I think that would really help with your own office to see what your competition is doing, and then just take it from there.
Thank you. Stacey, what do you feel is your one thing that has been very beneficial when you coach? The one thing that's your strongest that you feel is very helpful to the new agents?
My one thing.
One thing.
I hold them accountable, but in a softer way. I don't know how to explain that. Those of you that do know me, I can absolutely tell you where to go, and you're going to enjoy the trip getting there. So it works pretty well with them. So I think that's what gets me by the most.
Okay. Ron.
Well, similar to Stacey, although she can get away with more than I can. But we deal with a lot of our training and a lot of our coaching with humor and issues with humor. I find that just takes the edge off of it, and if we can laugh at our own mistakes, including mine and theirs, then we can move on to improve it. So I think humor's mine.
Okay. Charleen.
I'm a little tough. I'm on the agents constantly, and during the weekend, I'll wish them good luck at their open house, and at the end of the day, I'll ask them what happened, and I'll ask them, what did you do? How did you follow up? And if I don't receive a call back, then I'll call them the next day, and then on Monday, I'll continue to call them, and I just hold them accountable to that, and they enjoy that. Sometimes they don't, but they come to me sometimes and tell me, I really want you to be hard on me. And I'm pretty hard on them. And at the end result is they're a successful agent and they produce. And I think that's been working for us quite well.
So you're the hard one.
I'm the hard
You're
one.
the hard ass.
I am the hard ass.
Pick your managers careful of who does what around here. Each of you have at least 30 or 40 agents that are mentees. Plus they have large offices. anywhere from 3 to 470 agents. So, plus everything else that goes on in their life, how do you manage your time? I mean, are you giving them strict hours that they can call you or see you? Or if I need a little extra help and I'm a new agent and I'm writing a contract and it's on a Saturday, do you help me? I mean, I know I can get, how many of you have at least 300 or 400 agents in your office? New ones. Not one person raised their hand right here?
Food
Who raised their hand? Okay. How do you, what are your hours? I mean, what do you tell your agents? When can they call you? How do you help them if they do have to write something, they haven't been trained on a contract?
On Saturday.
On a Saturday? It's always the time.
First of all,
Well, you're going to get it. They're going to tell you.
I don't know.
We'll start with the hard one here,
Oh, there
Charlene.
you
Well, it depends on what time on Saturday, if I'm out to dinner or something. But one thing with me is I'm always accessible, and it can be a good thing and it could be a bad thing. So agents know, and everything is urgent with a new agent. I need your answer now, call me back within 10 minutes. So up front, agents know that, if they're in a situation, they can always email or text, we're writing an offer, what do we do? Because at the end of the day, we're supervising them, so we have to watch how they negotiate and write offers and present. So they know that they can send the offers over, we can review, but there is a time limit. After 10 o'clock, I'm usually in bed anyways, so I don't get back to them until the next day. And I always warn them that if they're preparing an offer, give us at least 24 hours to respond. But if it's important, just send us a quick text.
Ron?
Well, time management is tough, and because there's a lot of different pulls that go on in our job, and a lot of it unexpected. When the morning starts, you don't know how many agents are going to want help, how many calls I'm going to get, how many troubled escrows we have. So you're balancing a lot of different things there. I try to take it as it comes. I'm one that if I can pick up the phone when an agent calls or anybody calls, I'd rather do that than let it go to voicemail, listen to the voicemail, and then call them back and listen to the story again, and then get it done. So I try to do it as we go. If someone wants some help on the weekend, I'm usually available by phone and or text. And one of the benefits I have working with a great group of managing brokers in Phoenix is that we all take calls for each other. So if I happen to Saturday afternoon take my grandkids to a movie, and one of my agents trying to get a hold of me, and there's a real issue, and I don't respond, they can reach usually one of the other managing brokers. So that's a real plus. And after 9 o'clock for me at night, they're not going to do me. I'm done. So.
I'll even go to the Saturday question. And I think my answer to some of that is, it reminds me of the way my husband disciplines the kids or even deals with everything they want to do in life. He always tells them, I'm going to put in as much as you put in, and I'll go 100%, but that's only if you're going 100%. So if it's the agent that is consistently given 25%, I'm probably not going to meet him on a Saturday to write an offer. We're going to have a stern conversation about what this looked like during the week, get in your Dropbox folder, get out your cheat sheet, go through it, email it to me, and we're going to go from there. As far as the rest of the time management, boy, I'm worse than them. I go to bed about 8. So they definitely know that. And a lot of that in the night, I've held this belief, and it's not always politically correct, but I tell my agents a lot, stop dealing with some of these problems at 8, 9, 10, and 11 o'clock at night, because there's only 2 things going on at that point, and it's either exhaustion or alcohol, and neither one is good for solving a problem. So everything is better in the morning. And so many times this nightmare, oh my God, my hair's on fire, come morning, their hair's not on fire anymore. And I think sometimes even by me holding my boundaries, I'm teaching my agents what I want them to do with their clients, which is hold their boundaries as well, because your long-term success in this business without the burnout is whether or not you can establish boundaries.
Isn't it interesting that different styles, different times, how we want to do things? I've found, because I have such a large office, and I've got probably about 42 or 45 mentees right now. It's tough. And your phone's ringing all the time, and if you have to take time with someone, it may take you 10 minutes, another one may take you an hour to help them with their problem. So what I find is if an agent, especially if it's on the weekends, I will ask them to go ahead, fill out their contracts, do what they can do, call me, and I'll walk through it with you. And that helps. I've also taken it to twice a month, I will do a group coaching. That seems to really, really be very beneficial because the experienced agents can come in as well as the new agents, and the interaction that they have with one another and the situations that they bring up. Everybody's learning in there, and they really, really like that. I started, I think there was only 6 in the room when I started. Now our training room holds about 18 people. I can get 18 people in this room. And it's just the excitement and the adrenaline that starts running and how they're sharing with each other and what they're learning. They like that type of coaching. Would you like to, they told me we got to cut our time. Do you want to go ahead? Do you have anything else that you'd like to interject at this time before we open it up for questions?
You know, the only thing I thought of yesterday is, we talked yesterday about recruiting and then retention and then the coaching. I think even depending on how you coach your experienced agents and your new agents, by us giving a little extra time to some of them, the coaching leads to retention, which then automatically leads to recruiting, and it cuts down our time. And that's just kind of, I've always felt like that's just it goes back and forth ways.
Yeah, very similar to Stacey. My office is very, very geared to everyone's success. The high producers, the low producers, they're all willing to step in and help any agent that has questions and root on for their success. So if I have an agent that has a certain situation or needs some coaching in an area that I'm not real strong in, I can pull in some of my strong agents and they're more than happy to do it. And so it's very, very non-threatening to a new agent to come in. They're not afraid to ask questions. Sound no?
Well, with the Saturday question, I think what will help and what stopped a lot of the Saturday calls was that we added more classes. So we have about 12 to 15 classes a month, and we have a combination of classes to include the seasoned agents with the newer agents and the mediocre agents. So with that, they like to attend the classes. The new agents wanted to attend because the veterans were there asking questions and collaborating. And that really helped a lot with my time management or the additional classes.
Thank you. Aren't they great? They're awesome. At this time, we'll go ahead and take questions. If you want to just raise your hand for those of you that have questions. I think Stacey answered your question over there. No questions? This was a super fabulous job.
Quick question on your coaching programs. All the coaching programs you offer free of charge to the agents, so do you have any other programs where they opt in or there's a charge involved?
Well, with Rev Up, we don't charge for our agents.
Same.
How about the coaching?
Well, with the personal coaching, we have the 2 programs. And with the 70-30, the coaching program, that is part of that program. So there's no fee.
Do you have a coaching program beyond the 70-30?
We do. If they want, after their 5 transactions, if they wanted additional training, then we would continue the mentor program.
Did you have anything you want to add to that, Donna, Stacey?
No.
Okay.
We got one over here, Casey. Casey Ritter.
Oh, sorry.
Yes, I'd like to see the intensing, you have a lot of intense recruitment, but I don't see that intense retention. And I think that, have you ever thought about doing a buddy system with the experienced agents where, I know how busy experienced agents are, and you can ask the experienced agents questions, but have you ever thought of just making a buddy system so when new agents come in, they have somebody they can go to, not to disturb them or keep them from doing their work, but I just see, I've seen so many people leave the agencies, and I think if you asked the experienced agents, would you be a buddy to a new agent, I think they would say yes.
I find in my office, agents are so busy. And if they have a new person, I'm going on this listing appointment, can you make, well, I can't make it now, I can't do this. There are those that will take the time that aren't doing 100 transactions a year. I also find that in a buddy system, in trying to coach, I think the unique thing, and I'm going to have to brag about Arizona, I think the unique thing that we have there is we all coach. We do everything, that whoever comes into your office, you're your coach, their trainer. We all take chance a piece of training on Fridays in a training room. One trains contracts, one trains business planning. I mean, we have it all, and we are responsible once they're out of that training as well as their coach, whoever we hire. So you hear it said so often, hire quality people. Okay, it's not quantity that we really want, it's those that are going to produce that have the desire and the passion to really want to be in this industry. So it's a twofold. If there's experienced agents that want to be a mentor, you know, that's fine too. It's the kicker that I have is when teams want to hire new agents. And, you know, is the team leader going to train that agent? And if they're brand new and they come in on a 70-30 split till they do their first 5 transactions, then they go to 100%. How do you deal with that? Do you make them come to the training to make sure they're going to get trained? Or do you allow the team leader to train them? And are team leaders all training all of their agents the way they should be? Or do they have the time to train them? So that's a question I'm going to open up here if you'd like to.
Well, if we could, Casey, just to support that comment right there, the culture that the company has,
Yes.
that's the nice thing about our company is that Damon supports Casey, Casey supports it. We're all in support of that, so
That's right.
that's the key factor there. So we have about 3 more minutes left and 3 questions out here. Can we get answers in 3 minutes?
Do we have 3 questions?
Let's go to Mark. Mark Peskin's got one here first.
Okay.
Just curious, in all 3 of your offices, are you guys the coaches, the mentors, or do you farm that out to other agents in your offices?
Well, I am the coach and the mentor.
Me too.
Yes.
Yes.
All right. Jim Brooks has a question over here.
You had said that it seems like pretty much all of you agree that holding the agents accountable is a very important part of their development and success. Could you explain when holding them accountable if they don't hit their goals or they don't hit the standards as required, what do you do to hold them accountable?
We just fired. No.
Geez, I was just going to get right now.
You know when you've got poison or dead weight in your office, okay? Stacey, would you like to take that question?
I do, with all of my new agents, I do ask them to sit down and do a complete business plan and clear down to the weekly activities. What does this breakdown to look like with you? And we will, when you bring them back in and they do talk constantly about not hitting their goals, it's time to have that hard conversation that we need to adjust one of 2 things. You either need to adjust the hours that you're going to work and actually put in the time, or I need you to adjust down the amount of money you want to make in the end. And sometimes if you just bring it down to conversations that are that blunt, that, well, this is great, you can absolutely work this little, you just need to know that your income is going to go drastically down by your actions. And usually when you start to hit them in the pocketbook with that, it will help you make a difference.
Well, I've made it a little real for some agents. So I've done the takeaway. And I ask the agents, after we talk about our business plan, our goals for the week, what do you like to do? What do you enjoy to do? And some will tell me, you know, I like to go to the gym, or I like to go out and have dinner and have a drink. So I do a takeaway. And we set up the goals for the week, and I ask them, what would you do if you didn't reach the goal? And what is the most important thing for you to do? And most will say, you know, having dinner with my family, or having a drink after work. So I'll take that away from them. If you don't reach these goals, then you can't have a drink after work. And when I meet with them the next week, we talk about that, and they laugh about it, and they said, well, I didn't do my goals, I didn't do my activities, so I did have a drink. And then it becomes a habit, not the drinking part, but it becomes a habit of activities that, yeah, they're held accountable to what they have to do. And you know, you have to make fun of it sometimes, because then, you know, it's too serious. But I am pretty strict with them, with their activities.
Okay, here comes the hook. Sorry, ladies and gentlemen, we got to get going, all right?
Oh, thank you very, very much. And make sure you hug somebody today. Again,